Love it.
Oh no. Hey, Joel, the podcast's broken. What happened? Oh, we'll be right back. Hey, what the hell happened, dude? The video. You see that Zoom didn't work. Oh, is Zoom now blocking the capture? Yeah. Yep. I gotta stop. See if this thing catches up. Screen. I have to unlist that one. I think it's back, yeah. Hey, I can see us now. Hello, and welcome to another episode of No Lot Time. My name is Obed Velez, I think, and with me, it's the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good? No load time. Obed, Mr. Mario himself. What you doing?
Dude, I don't know what happened, dude. Zoom freaked out, and yeah, OBS didn't like it.
Technology, but don't worry.
Yeah,
There's a technician here.
Yeah,
to save the day.
Hey, if you guys have any suggestions on how to get rid of Zoom to make this look nicer, I don't want to go into too much details, but if you guys have any tips on using Discord on how to do the video and the audio, that'd be great. Greatly appreciate it. Joel, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Been super busy, having a lot of stuff going on. Making sure that I have some stuff tidied up as we're getting closer to San Diego Comic-Con. I will have a video for Florida SuperCon that starts tomorrow. Shout out to Florida SuperCon. So make sure you guys check out to the No Load Time YouTube channel. Should be out tomorrow, should be July the 12th, depending on the time you're watching and listening to the podcast. It's a great convention going on in Miami, and shout out to them. Thank you for granting us access to the convention. But yeah, I'm also making my plans for San Diego. Lots of different information coming about already. Going into this week, they just started putting out the full schedule. So every day they're putting out different bits and pieces. I know there's the Marvel Studios things that leaked before saying, hey, they're gonna be back, and Amazon is gonna be back. They did say for sure on Friday with the Rings of Power, and there's more things that are being announced here and there. It's pretty great, and that's all that has to do because of the writers and actors strike not being a thing. We can go back, and also Rona is not a thing at the same that we can have a little bit more of a normalcy of what we had probably akin to 2019 or pseudo in 2022 when they tried to bring it back a little bit there too. So
Right.
yeah, that's the hope at least. But great stuff there. Stay tuned. Stay subscribed to the channel. A lot of good stuff coming. Just can't say too much yet. But we are on the official press email list as of yesterday. I did get confirmation of that.
Saw that.
So we're really excited to be communicating with some great people at the convention, and trying to make sure we bring some different coverage than we've done before because of the
Yeah.
access that we have. So that's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm really excited. I'm really happy for you, man. You're gonna be out there living the dream, sir.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. We had a few days off last week. I didn't watch much. Started Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Watched two episodes of that. I know I saw that IGN gave it a really low score, like a 3.
Wow.
And then they announced the end of the show is gonna be a trilogy of movies. So no like regular season for the ending of the show, but I mean, so far it's fine. It's
Yeah.
it's Demon Slayer is good still. Um, well, that was probably the only thing that I watched out of everything I saw. I did see that Godzilla vs Kong dropped into Max, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch that because I haven't watched it yet.
You have to. You
So
have to. It's nothing compared to what you saw
minus
Godzilla
one.
-1. This is
Nah,
like,
I'm not expecting that. I'm not
this is
expecting it to be
cute
that
compared to
anyway.
that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
have fun.
yeah. So I'm gonna try and fit that in this weekend. Um, I did. Did I mention that I finished Final Fantasy? I think I did.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I can remember. So finished Final Fantasy, and jumped into Hi-Fi Rush. Finished Hi-Fi Rush. That game's real good, man. The
Yeah.
game's, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's 11 hours it took me to finish it. Really charming, well written, funny. Music's great. It looks really really nice. Um, if I were gonna give it a score, I would give it an 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. Game's real good. Yeah,
That's a great score. Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
yeah. If you see it was on sale for like 15 bucks again on PSN. I think last week. So that's a really good grab for that
Heck
price.
yeah.
It's a I don't want to call it a smaller game, dude, because this game is like legit, but it's not to the scale of other games, right? And it's a bit shorter than other games, but it's still a solid AAA experience. It was very very good. And then I started the Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth Tree, Joe. And okay, so I think I started it after they nerfed it because I heard that it was patched and they made it a little bit more, I guess, accessible. I can only think the only thing that I can think of right now because of how I'm doing
Yeah.
is maybe my build was actually pretty good, because I'm not having the trouble that I've seen some other people have. Granted, I'm not one of those crazy people that play no armor and no summons, right? I'm not, dude. If you give me something, I'll use it. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be around. It's like, listen. It's like, oh no, I want to beat this boss by just doing this thing. No, hey, you want to
You're
come
making
join?
it harder on
Yeah,
yourself.
you
I
want to come
mean,
join me and join my summon, and we'll try and take care of this boss. Yeah, sure, let's do it. I don't care, right? So I've been playing it like that. It's been working out fine so far. I think I've beaten like four, maybe five bosses. I found a boss like out in the wild. It's like, nah, bro, I'm not gonna fight you because I know how you guys were in the original game. But no, the map is really big. Like it could have been a standalone game. I mean, they're charging $39.99 for it. It is almost a standalone experience. So the map is really big. It really encourages exploration, right? The base game does as well, right? But more so on this one, where um, you find that boss that you can't get through, and it's like, all right, I'll come back later. I'm gonna go somewhere else and look to see what's there. And then you go out, you look at the map. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go this here and see what's there. And that's what I've been doing, right?
good.
And so far I'm having a great time. It's really good. It's again challenging. It is hard, right? When you start, like everything basically, like, you die in two hits, and so you gotta be ready. But it's great. It's great. It's great to jump back into that world, and you know the sense of exploration on that game is incredible. I mean, the only other game that I can compare to the sense of exploration that the game has is probably Breath of the Wild. So not so much Tears of the Kingdom because of the main map being the same, right? I think the sense of discovery that Breath of the Wild had was really really special. So this game really compares to that. It was like it really encourages exploration and discovery and all that. So no, having a great time with it. I'm very much looking forward to jumping back in this weekend and grinding it a little bit more. But yeah, man,
It's good. It's
that
good.
was basically my Fourth of July week, man. I just played Hi-Fi Rush a ton,
Oh,
and
for
and
sure.
started playing Elden Ring again. So it was great.
Did you have a hot dog or a hamburger?
Uh, I did not.
Man,
I did.
he's
I did not.
no, I'm being silly. That's like the stereotypical American. America
Right.
is a country founded on many different cultures, so you can have whatever you want and probably say it's It's American, but it's kind of on the backs of other great great
Yeah,
great TV
now that I'm
shows.
thinking of it, no, I did not have a burger or a hot dog the entire week. So yeah,
Wow.
there you go.
There you go. It
Yeah, it goes to
happens.
show. Yeah, man. So
Well,
what's up with you?
I do want to take a quick moment. I don't want to take too much time. We've got some really interesting things to talk about from the gaming side. We're going to talk about Xbox and some good stuff, but I do want to take a quick moment to talk about The Acolyte again. Um, we are one episode away from the finale.
I can't wait for it to be over.
It's gonna be
I,
over next. It's gonna be over next week.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to stop talking about this.
I can't wait to stop talking about this. To know that we are literally at the end now, somehow, some way. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I don't know how they are able to have this thing be cleared by writers, creatives. I'm not even talking about Star Wars people. Like, you don't need to have a Star Wars head in the room to know that some of these ideas are just bad creative decisions. And like that's what I want to talk about a little bit with this last episode that just came out this last week. Like a lot of times the conversations that you and I have had and many other people, I'm not saying I'm not calling myself an influencer, but I'm saying other influencers out there, other YouTubers, other people in the space that are
Right.
talking about this stuff, like they're on here and they're saying like it's just not Star Wars, or it's just not, it's not good Star Wars, or it's this, that, and the other. And like take Star Wars even out of it, because for a while I was telling people I think I'm being more judgmental of it because it has Star Wars on it and because I love Star Wars. And if you put it as some other show on Netflix, I wouldn't be as judgmental. I no longer can even stand behind that statement because I tried to recruit a little bit of that, to spend that and say, okay, like let me just try and see it as a regular show in my own mind, see what's going on here. And it's still absolute trash. Like it's still absolutely bad. This last episode
Man,
was a repeat of episode 3, which is
that's what I
arguably the
heard.
worst thing that we've had in all of Star Wars. And somehow, some way, they found a way to make it even worse. There is a skew of things that they do in the episode that um supposed to be like almost like a big reveal kind of thing, for an example. And I'm just talking spoilers here, guys. So if you haven't watched The Acolyte, don't. And if you do want to watch it, don't.
And I don't
But
care.
but I'm just talking. I'm to talk about it anyways. But don't do it. It's a trap. But like literally, you have this witch mother character gets killed by Soul because he sees that it looks like almost like she's becoming some kind, and it's not described, she's becoming some type of black smoke type thing. And the other one of the twins, May, is also starting to turn into almost like she looks almost like she's pulling the power from her. We're not really sure what it is because it's not described. My thought was that it's not the same, but it's like, oh, maybe it's like the dyad thing that you see with with Rey and Kylo. And Soul, just because he sees it and he thinks like, hey, maybe she's like killing her, he just stabs the cloud in the air and it happens to kill her. And it's moments like this that you're supposed to feel some type of tension, or supposed to be like a big reveal, like this is how things went down, and this is a part of the conversation of like, the acolyte character, this Sith, whatever you want to call him, Smiley Ren that shows up, is it keeps proving this thing of, you know, the Jedi kill the unarmed. And that is completely on the basis of just Osha and May's storyline, the main characters, these twin girls. On that full basis of everything that we've seen from both sides of these episodes is fundamentally just not true. Like that doesn't happen at all. In fact, they actually do instantly attack. Walking up to someone's doorstep and asking them a question isn't the Jedi coming in trying to cause trouble. I'm sorry. Like they're trying to paint the Jedi as the villains. The Jedi's are the bad guys. The Jedi just, and like that's the only thing that I can see them trying to say is like, hey, the Jedi stuck their nose in something they shouldn't have. That's not at all what, if you're watching the same things, that's not all what's going on. And then again, the big notion of just them attacking an unarmed person, that's just literally not true. You watch the whole thing, like that's not a thing. If you would have shown that, you could have tried to provide some remorse for these other characters and saying like, oh yeah, because this is supposed to be from the perspective of the dark side. Oh, I could see how someone would go to the dark side because of this traumatic thing. There is no traumatic thing. There is no moment where you see the Jedi do something that you go, I think they crossed the line. I think it's the absolute opposite, in my personal opinion. And it's not me just trying to bail out the Jedi's on this. I think if you watch it with a sober mind, you would say it's really not that confusing. Now, as it pertains to next week, being like the end, we have a million questions still. This episode was an
Right.
absolute waste of time because you just went in a complete circle. We still don't know why this Smiley Ren is who he is, what he believes in, why he's on the dark side, what led him to this. We're probably gonna get a random flashback sequence where he got whipped by the one head Jedi, but not on the Jedi Council character that's in this thing, with the lightning whip. And there's other things that they're gonna do that's very predictable, but I think it's gonna really just be a show that just ends and just doesn't it doesn't have any type of season one conclusion of a story. And when I look at this in comparison to shows like Andor, and
Right.
Andor is a good example of something where you say just take Star Wars out of it. Like I tell people, I don't care if you like Star Wars, or you don't like Star Wars. It's just a good show. Um, like you know, yes, there's clearly breadcrumbs and setup for another season, but season one of Andor ends with like a definitive story. Like there is a definitive end, and there's also a definitive setup for the following season. So I think that this show is just not going to have that. The show's just going to just end, and you're going to be like, well, there should have been like two or three more episodes, even if you like it or not. Just say like there's some questions that need to be answered. That's my assumption prediction for next week. But a lot of people are asking the question right now: will there be a second season? And I started looking through the Nielsen ratings and just to kind of compare, just to see. This is trending better than Andor, but it's behind everything else. Ahsoka did better, Mandalorian did better, Obi-Wan
I just
Kenobi did
saw.
better.
I was doing a quick scrub here, and
Yeah.
I saw something that Screen Rant posted. Hold on.
Yes, yeah. Screamer was
Yeah.
one of the ones too. I saw
So
that too.
viewership data says it's good but not great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's so and there's a lot of numbers behind it crunch that proves that exact point. So my hope, as many people are saying, like if they come out and say at 2025 celebration or before
Right.
we're doing season two, I think this will be the nail in the coffin of Star Wars will literally have to take like a 4 to 5 year break from even television. Because we've had Obed
Yeah.
like 5 years off from a film, and it's when the next, assuming that this Ray film does actually come out, like that's gonna be like 7 years since like the last saga film that we saw in theaters,
Right.
which is okay from a film wise. I'm okay waiting like that, but we had our TV shows in between to kind of help fill it. But when TV starts to falter like this, you're probably going to have them literally just take a 3 4 year break on television if they do a season two and they have the same kind of things, because how do you recover from that?
Right.
I don't know,
At
man.
some point, dude, like someone needs to step in.
I think that's why Bob
Right.
showed up, because he probably saw how much money they were spending, especially this one was so bad production wise. I was looking with the person with me. I was watching. I said, this had the same budget as Dune 2. And if you
At
guys
the
haven't seen Dune 2, like it was a
That's the
10
entire
million
movie,
difference.
right?
And you're like, that movie is like
Bro,
goes crazy good in
where did the
production.
money? Is like the She-Hulk money. It's like where did it go? Like how are these
You better have been
shows
paying
so
your staff
expensive,
extremely
dude?
well.
But even so, man, like even so, like I don't think like there's no like friggin' like A-listers or anything.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Ian McGregor's in the show, right? It's not like they're bringing like old school like Star Wars
No.
people in, and
Leslie's probably getting a big paycheck, honestly,
but it
because of
again,
her award-winning status. Like you bring in someone with an
man.
Oscar, they automatically
See,
get paid.
and
That's what's crazy.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But we saw the same thing happen with Marvel, with
Yeah,
a
with
movie that
She-Hulk. Yeah.
everyone forgets, The
Oh.
Eternals,
Oh
the most
yeah, yeah,
forgettable
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
That woman won like Film of the Year. Like
Cinematography or
that, like
something
it's
too,
not
right?
like yeah, like she literally
Right.
like this is literally a person who's like you all get the same approval. Like you know how to make movies. Like the whole industry is saying yes, and then you make, arguably, in my personal opinion, the worst MCU movie ever, in my personal opinion. The
A
most
movie that will
forgettable one.
most unlikely get like retcon because it's like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
no one's talking about it. Like, and
You
the
can't
even
make a sequel and try and fix it the way you could with
yeah,
like a Thor or something like
right.
that.
And even Marvel knows like not even Marvel's like acknowledging that this movie existed, and then looking forward to their slate. It's like nowhere to be
I was
found,
at the
dude.
Dollar Tree, Obed, and I saw the Eternals bags. They were selling the bags at the Dollar Tree, dude. The reusable bags for
Oh
$1.25.
my god, they probably sold them at the parks.
Probably. You can't make this stuff
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Well, you go. It's like, man,
I don't want to say talking about the
it's
bad stuff.
crazy.
We're talking other things, but
Yeah,
like I just had to say, like in comparison, like between Leslie so with Marvel,
but
like
even
this is a problem.
it is.
Yeah,
Like they're there to make money, and if they're
totally.
not making money and just spending and spending and spending and not really, no man, I I stand by my prediction that October this year, and and again I'm hoping that they make the right choice
Yeah,
because they gotta salvage this somehow.
yeah.
Like you don't you got I don't know. I don't know. It is to me it is incredible that this thing got even greenlit to begin with, and then even bringing back like the problems with the writing and all that, and that's been my criticism right from what I've seen is that the writing is just atrocious, right?
Right.
There's probably and I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I still haven't watched any of the episodes. I've watched bits and pieces here and there,
Yeah.
right? There's some cool elements behind it,
Oh, sure.
but the writing is so awful and the acting is so bad that
It could
it's
have been
just like
so fixed. It could. There's so much of this that could have been
I
fixed,
just can't.
but it's so bad.
I can't.
Yeah.
And to me, is my like, where's the quality control, right? Like Disney used to be no, like Disney and to a certain extent, like Star Wars were known for pushing the boundary when it came to like movie making, right? And then did again, everything happens at night. It's like what's going on, right?
There are people, Obed, that have been defending the
It
show
looks
that have been
terrible.
radio silent over like after this last episode.
I
Literally
haven't,
after
yeah,
this last episode, like there are certain people that I kept keeping tabs on that were the ones that were saying like, no, like apologists for it, right?
right,
And
right,
I
right.
like to hear multiple perspectives.
Hmm.
These people are quiet.
Yeah,
There's only a few people I've seen that have said like things trying to defend, and then they don't even respond when people like say stuff because it's like, how do you respond?
right,
The episode speaks for itself.
yeah, yep. There was a who gave it a zero. I think it was Cosmic Book.
They're right.
Gave it a
They're
zero.
right. The Cosmic Book, look, I've made jokes. They're
I
right.
know. I know
Yeah.
we made jokes. Yeah. All right. Well, last week is gonna be the last time that we talk about this thing, and
Yeah.
hopefully that's it. So we'll be
Agreed.
over it. Joel, real quick, we got a ton of video game stuff to cover this week. Real quick, two things. If you guys, thank you guys for like your support watching like our Disney clips because they do really
Yeah.
well. But going back to the Epcot clip that I posted about Epcot being ruined, I sent you a video from Poseidon Entertainment. The following,
Yeah.
it was like a couple days after we recorded, and he made a video about it. And by the way, it's a great channel if you're into like theme park like history and all that. It's phenomenal. So definitely go check it out. But yeah, it's like again they ruined it. And after that, man, they started coming out and coming out, and then they opened the community core thing, hall. I don't know if you saw, dude. You haven't seen it?
I've seen like only a couple. Oh no, no, I did. No, forgive me. I did because I saw the video you sent me, kind of showing
It
too, like what it
looks
looks
like
like.
a like a high school like
Very small.
cafeteria. It's
Looks
very small
small.
too. Yeah, yeah, very small.
I don't really know
So it's getting, yeah, man. Everyone's
what
roasting
they're
it,
gonna do with it. I don't
and
know.
yeah, and reviews are very negative. Like everyone's like, no, this is really bad. Like, what did you guys do to Epcot? What the heck? So, um, universally panned. Like that's everyone's not happy with it, and I am not happy. Like they destroyed the park, honestly. And we had a crater for 5 years, and that's it. You know, a flower planter and a kiosk, basically, and a stage. It's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of videos like our videos out there. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. But you know, I highly recommend the one from Poseidon Entertainment. It's phenomenal. And but there's some other ones like people going in. It's like, oh, I'm very. I saw. I think it was like either a TikTok or something. Which, by the way, I went down that rabbit hole. I didn't wanna, but I did, and I can see the appeal now, right? Because it's highly consumable and it's very fast. But I did run into one. Um, that was this lady making a video. It's like, I wish I could have visited Epcot during these days, and it was basically the 90s. So it's like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, yeah, the park is ruined. Can it be fixed? Yes. Disney says that they're done, that they're 100% done with.
Well, so much money they spent, they can't justify doing anything for the immediate
It's
term. There's
ridiculous,
no
dude.
way.
Yeah,
They would be better off putting that money into building a new park
it
than
is.
putting into the same
It.
park again that they already have.
I know it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They
Like
already
this
spent
people
enough money.
managing like Epcot
Yeah. But
and
this is why Josh DiMauro, like when we talked about it, I said, sadly, he's probably the first top person on my list of people, like out of that list that we talked about becoming
right.
CEO. And it's like
But here's the thing.
only because like I kind of feel like you have to. Like I don't
But
really feel
But if
enthusiastic.
if you go back, right, and you can watch it in the Poseidon Entertainment video,
Yeah.
like like Chapek was the one that showed the blue sky map of Epcot, and this is what it's gonna look like, and it's yeah, but man, it's rough, and now they're having
Yeah.
like technical issues with like the floor and the posts not turning on, like lighting issues. Bro, are you kidding me? You spent like $1 billion and it's bad, bro.
Sounds like somebody got scammed or something. Like they got the wrong I don't know. Very
I
strange.
really,
I
it's
don't it's
very strange.
on the
Yeah,
outside looking in, it seems like there's gonna be a
like
bigger story at some
between that
point.
and
It's
the
like, oh, that
acolyte,
makes
it
sense.
seems like tax write offs to me, man.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah,
there's gonna
yeah.
be some story at some point where, oh, okay, I get it
I
now.
really want to know. I really, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's that was that park was beloved to me, and now it's just nothing. So
Yeah.
it's
I
unfortunate.
I still like it, but I understand. I don't think it's ruined personally, but
Oh
I
yeah,
understand if I had nostalgia of the past, I might feel that way.
right, right. Um, Epic Universe, sir. Everyone's real excited about it. So, quick bit of news before jumping into gaming. Universal announced that if for at least some time, so for an unidentified amount of time, which I can foresee being at least 6 months,
Hmm.
if you want to go to Epic Universe, you are not able to purchase a single day ticket to the park. You have to buy a multi day ticket starting at 3 days, and you can only use one of those days for Epic Universe. The other two you need to split between Islands and Studio. So yeah, a lot of people are complaining about it, but listen, I get it. I get it.
They have to control.
You have to control them. Like
It would get out of
like
hand.
Japan is still scheduling people to go to the Mario area.
No.
Like you have
No,
to
you're
sign up in the morning and they give you a time so you can go.
I love that though.
Yeah,
I love that so organized.
it is.
Like
Yeah,
you show up, it's like, all right, I have my space. I don't have to worry about everyone being crowded in here.
right. But they've been open for over a year now, and they're still doing it
That's
because
awesome.
it's
Good for
insane.
them.
So I know what they're doing, right? It's like it's crowd control, and at the same time, you got to take advantage of it, right? That means when if they're doing this, man, Like it reminds me when they opened Hogwarts at Islands of Adventure.
Yeah,
And you remember the do you remember the line? You remember the helicopter shots from the news? And the
crazy.
line was all the way back uh to the garage basically.
Yeah,
It's insane. So that's exactly what they don't want to have to deal with. And and they want to take advantage of it, right? Because right, I can buy a 3 day ticket for Universal, but then I go all 3 days to Epic Universe. I'm being still part of the crowd, right? And I totally
yeah.
get it.
It's another
But
body they have to account for.
yeah, but you know, I get it. It's received some criticism, and rightfully so, right? I'm not saying that this is still like this is great, but in my opinion, what they should have done is create a reservation system for just that park until crowds subside and whatnot. But I mean, what they're doing right now, I think it's a good call from both the crowd control uh, standpoint and the financial standpoint because they're gonna be selling tickets. Like some people are gonna pay $250 for the 3 day ticket
Oh,
and
for
only go
sure.
the 1 day to Epic Universe and not
Yeah,
it's like and go
they
back
don't care
home,
what the other
right?
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I know that they want you to go to studios, they want you to go to islands, and they want you to go to City Walk and get merchandise and whatnot. But um, yeah, I totally get it. But what do you think?
there is no scenario to me where they can make everyone happy, and I think that's important for people to understand, because people will be like, "But that's not fair. They're trying to do a cash grab, and they're trying to make more money. That's why they're making people spend more money. Instead of just I just want one ticket. Why can't I just buy my one ticket? This is ridiculous." I feel bad for the guest services people that are gonna get those kinds of calls because people just aren't like the non
Right.
corporate, people that are just looking at just as a consumer what they want. That's all they're going to be thinking, and I get that. And I just think as a company too, like they can't win on a front of having every single person satisfied. But out of all the plans that I can think of, what I like about this is they're telling people if you really really want to go here, you're gonna have to spend an extra premium. But even though you're spending more money, like just to make sure you get in here than maybe what you would have anticipated, we're still adding value because you get to go to these two other parks. You have to go to these two other parks, if you're gonna have this experience. So by doing that, you have the win of saying like, if you really want this, you're gonna spend this extra thing. You're gonna go these other parks. People who maybe had not been to islands and Universal in a long time or
Yep.
ever. Now they're forced to go over there. This gives them more exposure to the brand and experience and realizing, hey, I've been to islands and I've been, to Universal Studios like, fairly recently. I went in February or January. Yeah. And like literally January, yeah, and like literally these are still very good
They
parks.
are,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. They're
yeah,
they're yes, do they compete the same with Disney? No, they're not the same. They're not the same kinds of parks, but what they have, they're good. They know what they're doing. And so it's not like you're getting a bad deal out of it. So I just think that's important to understand. Someone like me, I already know um I'm a budget friendly kind of person. I wouldn't probably open my wallet to be there day one, but I would want to because of how much excitement and how much positive stuff is coming out from this. But I think that this crowd control makes it even more appealing of saying if I did end up getting to buy this ticket, I feel like I know deep down inside it's gonna be busy, but it's not gonna be chaos. And that makes me happy.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely update if there's anything or any other news that come out of that. By the way, I hadn't been to Icon Park in a long time, and I went this past weekend. Man, that place is so tourist trappy. It's like, hey, where you guys from? It's like you don't want to know.
I'm fine. But I will say
Yeah,
from a safety standpoint, they really have cleaned up that
that's
area.
yeah,
There was a while ago,
right.
Floridians would know it
Yep,
was looking a little tough out there.
yep,
And it's become a much more friendly, safe
yes,
environment and that kind of thing. It's just at the end of the day, because they know all the tourists are over there,
yep,
you know. Yeah.
yeah.
That someone would like to sell you something.
Oh, I knew that there was something that I wanted to add,
Yeah.
and I forgot to add on the notes, but I just remembered what it was. Now that we're talking about tourist traps, so CEO was this past weekend at
Yes,
Daytona,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Um, Next year, dude, it's gonna be at Shingle Creek, like behind Icon Park. Let's go,
Whoa.
bro. We can
So they're not
go.
going back to Daytona
They're
finally.
not going back to Daytona. So I was like,
Rejoice.
that's great. So
Sorry,
yeah,
Daytona. We
man.
loved it over there. Sorry for you guys. But for us,
Sorry.
rejoice.
Yeah. So yeah. So maybe next year we can pay a
Oh
visit.
yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Especially time of year. It's perfect.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. So I'm happy. So if you're interested into in fighting games and whatnot, CEO Gaming, their big event next year,
Yeah, yeah.
Shingle Creek Resort in Orlando. CEO Taco's still at the Wyndham this year. So yeah, man, good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and move over to this guy. Where do you want to start with? Okay, let's start with Game Pass because that's I guess that's the big thing,
That
right?
is a big one. Yeah.
All right. So, how long have we been saying, Joel, that Game Pass is unsustainable?
They have to do this.
They had to do this. So, Game Pass Ultimate is now going up to $20 a month. Game Pass PC is going up to $12 a month. Game Pass Console is $10.99 a month if you have it already. So if you have Game Pass Console, you can keep it as long as you auto renew for $10.99 a month. Game Pass Core, which is just the ability to play online, is $9.99 a month. And they're introducing a new tier called Game Pass Standard, which is $14.99 a month. No day one games on that tier. So if you want the day one games, you gotta go with Ultimate. Um, and yeah, we've been saying it. The day one thing is unsustainable.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand why they're doing this because they have to. And I'm not, I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm not gonna come here and pretend that this is great and whatnot. Price increases always are terrible. Like I ended up paying $70 for my PSN last week because I had to renew. And I'm not interested in the premium tiers, so I'll just get the base and that's it, right?
Right,
Call it a
right.
day.
Still get great things out of it.
Yeah, but it's not price increases are not great, but it guys, it was unsustainable, and you guys knew it. Like you guys can lie to yourselves and say no, Xbox has $1 trillion and they shouldn't be able to raise the prices because they have a lot of money. No, bro, this is unsustainable. That that model that they had was unsustainable. So this is a little bit better than. It's interesting that they're doing it before Call of Duty launches because now they're gonna force people to either upgrade or buy Call of Duty, and this is again Phil lying and getting away with it, and you guys still being Phil fanboys and oh yeah, Phil still can't do any wrong while he's out here like time after time lying, saying hey, we're gonna go do this thing and we're not gonna lay anyone off, and goes off and lays people off, and hey, we're gonna do this thing day one, and you guys are not gonna feel it. Oh no, price went up. Oh yeah, but we're gonna have Call of Duty day one. Guess what? Now you gotta pay for Ultimate if you want it. So, if there's one person that's losing in here is Phil's credibility. That's the one taking the hit. I think if you guys are fanboys, that's up. That's you do you. But Phil is like not. I don't know. It doesn't seem trustworthy at the moment. But Joel, man, what do you think of this new tiers?
Um, all of it. is pretty much it's bad, but yeah, I understand it. Like at the same time.
Right.
Like it's bad because you're somehow giving more options, but you're actually almost like making it more limited in the same way, as strange as that sounds. Because if it was so all inclusive before when you had your the prior tiers were like it was too good to be true. And so now that they're like, if you really, really, really want what you had before, you need to pay $20 a month, basically, is what they're telling people. And I don't think that's going to last to that price also for a while. I think if they try to continue this model, get ready for $25 a month next year.
Yep.
Easily. I think
That
that
and that was
that's
my
more
prediction. That
sustainable
my
for them.
prediction was that it was gonna go up to like $25 a month.
Yeah, I think that's where it ends up. I think for a while once you go into next year, if they're able to somehow go into that. Um, the one shining light out of it all is like the Xbox Game Pass core. Like, okay, you have like that. I think that new tier is actually really good for people who are just like, you know what? I just want my online multiplayer. Yeah, I get deal discounts, but like, and I have a few games, but I don't really care about those. I'm gonna buy my games outright, but I want to have access to your servers. It's still overpriced. It's still too
It's
much
a lot of money.
for what you're
It's
getting.
$120 a month, and you get the same thing that you get for 70 a month on PSN.
Right.
Do they? Can you? Oh, you can. But you can pay for a year for 75, I think, because
That's
that
what I'm
went up.
saying. That's a
That
better,
went up from 60 to 75.
not good,
Yeah.
but better than what it was.
Right.
I mean, better. It's a little bit of option. It's still, but still, like I can't pretend like there's any wins here because at the end of the
No.
day,
Yeah.
the only people who I don't even want to say win because it almost feels like a gotcha is like the Xbox Game Pass console, which is like the hey, you're being grandfathered in. How long will that really last? I don't,
I don't know.
trust into the loyalty. I don't think there will be much loyalty from. I mean, we were saying we're talking about the honesty of Phil and how he's
If
operated the business. I
Yeah,
think if he has anything to say with it, this is not going to last very long.
I wonder. I wonder if there's any numbers out there on how how many Ultimate and how many console subscriptions they had out there. I know
Yeah,
the number that was floating around was like 36 million like total, but I don't know how they're dividing that and how PC is and whatnot. So yeah, man, yeah, it's rough. Like I find it interesting that again Phil comes out and says, "Oh, Call of Duty, they won on Game Pass," but then it's like, "Hey, gotcha." So it's only on this Game Pass because if you don't have this the Ultimate, you're not getting it day one.
yeah.
So even if you have Standard, you still gotta pay the $70 and get Call of Duty. So yeah, I don't know. It's there's stuff happening at Xbox. We'll keep rolling because it's
There's more.
oh
Oh
man,
wait, there's more.
there's more bad news. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. You guys know if you're in the know, you already know. We're just recapping.
Right, we're providing
we're
analysis.
just yeah, exactly. We're just giving you guys our thoughts on these things. And yeah, I mean I've said it for a long time, man. This model's unsustainable, and they needed to be some big changes. I think I said it a few months ago that if they want Game Pass to continue to be a thing, they got to change the model. And this is them changing the model, whether you like it or not. And I don't think that it's the value that it once was, but I think it's worth it on PC. Like people on PC like dunk on the app. I think it's fine. Um, I did have trouble running some games off of the app that were crashing back when I was subscribed to it. A few couple of years ago, but I think the Game Pass PC is the place to be right now. Honestly,
Yeah.
like there's you know that it's the cheapest tier. You still get good games. You don't get the day ones, but it's $12 a month, which is you know the price of a McDonald's meal if you look at it that way. So yeah, I mean some people would rather just eat the McDonald's and not deal with Game Pass, but you still have the option. All right. So Xbox. This is an article that the Verge put out today, called "No Xbox, No Problem," and it basically talks about how Xbox wants the Game Cloud or X Cloud or whatever they're calling it on, you know, on TV devices. That way you can access games anytime. They are allegedly cutting back on marketing consoles in certain regions. Like I think it was like some regions, some parts of Europe, and I think like Africa and Australia, that they're cutting back and not advertising the console, or at least as strongly as it once was. That's a huge concern right there. Um, if you're cutting back on marketing, dude, that speaks volumes. So the other part of this story is the sales, and it's an indication. Like the sales pacing articles came out earlier this week. This article on The Verge came out this week. Um, yeah, man, it seems like they're really pushing for the PC, streaming platforms instead of just the console.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the console pacing numbers, uh, PS5 is outpacing the PS4 at this time in its life cycle by 8%. Xbox is trailing the Xbox One by 13%.
Wow.
Um, and the Switch, it's down 30%, but they're already at saturation. Like everyone that wanted a Switch already got a Switch. And it's as simple as that. So, a lot of people are gonna, especially the hardcore Nintendo fans, are like this year. They're, even if they come out with like special edition Switches or whatever, unless your Switch breaks, you're probably not gonna buy a new Switch, and
Yeah.
you're gonna wait out to see what happens next year with a new model. But the Xbox One, which has been widely considered to be a huge flop, and then you got the series consoles doing worse than the one was doing at that time. Um, I don't know, man. Like this is like there's definitely alarm bells ringing, and you can tell. Again, I have a prediction. If you want to write it down, I guess we can come back to it in a few years if we're still around. But whatever the next Xbox is, whether it's an iteration of more powerful Series X or something new, that's gonna be the last one. And then, so we're gonna get one more console out of Xbox, and then after that, they're just gonna embed the app everywhere on your TV. Like if you have an Android TV, if you have a Roku, you can download Xbox games. If you have an Android TV, you can download the Xbox app. Samsung, whatever, right? Um, I just don't think it's viable for them anymore to keep making the console. Uh, takes a lot of money in R&D, a lot of money in marketing, dev kits, all these other things that you need to worry about, APIs, and when the developer tools and all that. It's just like probably I don't think they're getting the return on investment, and at this point they're probably is going to choose and use Xbox as a platform instead of just a console. So yeah, man, crazy stuff. Like there's like there's alarm bells like this article's coming out, Game Pass, like all in a week, right? Um, the third party rumors, those still around. Like we have no resolution on that because like that Phil came out, did that Nothing podcast, and to basically lie again. Like there's still rumors that Indiana Jones is coming out on PlayStation, like not on date on as Xbox, but like Doom's coming out on PlayStation. There's Xbox coming out on PlayStation. Xbox Studios games coming out. So I don't know, man. It's like I think Phil's cornered. He's making the moves, and he's gotta right. He's gotta do what's gotta do. But I, I guess this is my message to the fanboys is this guys, this CEOs and this presidents of divisions and all that, like Jim Ryan and you know all these guys at PlayStation and even Shiggy. These guys are not your friends. Like they got a business to run, and they got to do what they got to do. They're not here to keep the prices low just so you, as their target consumer, is happy. They gotta make some changes, and this was clearly the model, the Game Pass model was clearly unsustainable, and they had to make changes. Problem is that you have Phil out there saying, no, no, we're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna do this thing, and you guys are gonna be happy, and they want this, and Call of Duty, and no other games are coming out on PlayStation, and then other games keep coming out, and the my message to you guys is like keep enjoying Xbox. That's awesome. If Xbox is your platform of choice, that's great. It's great that we have choices, right? Um, but just don't like be enamored with like this like CEOs. They're business people. They're out there to make money. They're not your friends. So that's all I gotta say about that. But yeah, go ahead, dude.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to it except that we saw this. I think your prediction, just in general, of saying like this next was the last physical iteration of an Xbox console is extremely valid. And even saying that you're looking at most likely, let's assume that next year is not next year, 2026, 2027 is like the next iteration, right? Somewhere between that timeline, end of
Right.
26, or maybe summer 27, something like that, I would say. At that point, you're probably looking at it at a moment where they would just end up um, maybe taking anywhere between 5 to 10 years from that to have a last console, which like to let that console live and breathe on its own, like over the next iteration. And so you're probably looking at from, let's just say 2027 up until 2033, twenty thirty
Yeah,
four,
7 years
maybe
at least. Yeah.
something like that. I think 2035 and beyond is when you start having the conversation, like you start already like having confirmation of like there's a new era, a new generation of gamers. People have come to this fold and are saying like it's streaming exclusive for Xbox. That's the route they're going. They can charge you, you know, $40 a month or whatever crazy it is with inflation at that time, and then say like, you've got access to this, that, and the other, and just make sure you buy controllers. They'll still sell their controllers because people love their controllers.
Yeah.
And TVs will be better technology by then too. So it's not all doom and gloom because some of it's a little bit catching up with the times, and that's like predicting what the future may look like. But for where things currently stand,
Right.
is why it's not the most joyful thing because they have an opportunity to be in a place where, like, you see what's going on with PlayStation. And we're talking about them outpacing even the PS4, with their sales and saying, like, we can go out here and we can actually uh be close to that and be have a similar type of success and see that there's clearly a demand for physical consoles
Right.
and there's not even a demand now. What does that look like for their future? Does that mean that, let's just say, PlayStation goes a similar amount route and in the year 2035 and they're also just an app or something? You're still gonna have like the wars in essence,
Yeah.
and if you're not having energy around your business right now, it's scary about the future. So that's
Right.
just me trying to play the prediction game. But yeah, all of this stuff was writing on the wall. This isn't like if you were just thinking it's just gonna stay the way it was for the next few years, it's been obvious.
Yeah, I mean it's been a rough 90 days for Xbox. Like since the first when the multi-platform rumors came out, and then them being a then damage controlling it, and
Right.
they had a great showcase, right? Arguably, nothing really moves my needle and makes me go crazy. I think it was a good showcase. They've had better showcases in the past. I think, to me, the last 2019 was probably their best showcase with the Xbox One. So man, it's tough. Like they're if they can't move the if they can't move the consoles, right? They gotta start looking at these other avenues, and this is where it's all stemming from, right? Uh, Sales are stagnant. They're doing even worse than the previous generation, which was considered a huge flop. Um, I think that again, sometime either this month or next month, we're gonna hear. I'm predicting that we're gonna hear from PlayStation about a Pro or whatever.
Yeah, you
Um,
said July or August. I've got it written down.
yeah,
So
there you go.
clock is
See,
ticking. We're in July.
yeah, clock is ticking. So we're gonna hear. I'm sure that we're gonna hear something about that. Um, I saw a curious like I guess tidbit. It's been the Switch is the longest that Nintendo's been without putting a new console out.
It's
So,
their best thing they've ever done.
oh
There's
yeah,
no way around it. The Switch
yeah,
is the best thing they. It will go down in history. Generations will talk about the Nintendo Switch for a long time.
yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So like I think the Famicom came out in '83 in Japan, and then the Super Famicom came out in 1990. But now the Switch has been or longer than that gap of time out without a successor. So yeah, and it's it's pretty insane, and it's crazy, and it chugs. And again, we go back to their showcase, and I think that they had a really good showcase. Nintendo, I mean, but you can like you look at those games, I was like, man, it's showing its age. Like I think the Mario and Luigi game looks great,
Yeah.
but it's showing its age, and the Zelda game looks cute. Um, but again, it's it is what it is. Metroid Prime looks fine, but I don't think that was running on Switch.
I don't think so either.
If you ask me, I don't think that was running on a base Switch. I think that was running on something else. At least that last shot that we got was that was not a Switch. So yeah, curious to see how everything runs from now until the end of the year. Curious to see if Microsoft's going to make some changes in the next year to leadership, right? And what their ultimate plan is. So very interesting stuff. Sony, they're staying quiet. They're laying low, staying quiet, man,
Yeah.
and they're doing they're cooking. They're not, Same with Nintendo. They're cooking. They're not out there. And see, and that's the thing. Like you got Nintendo that doesn't talk to anyone, and Sony that doesn't talk to anyone now, like they used to talk to people back when the PS4 came out. About halfway through the life cycle, it all stopped. And I think that they realized that they needed to stop because if they continued, they were going to end up with the same problem that Xbox is having, where Phil doesn't shut up.
Oh
And
boy.
then it just, it's true, man. It's true that it's like they're out there cooking, doing their thing, and Xbox is out here. No, man, I'm your friend. Trust me, we're gonna take care of you guys. I don't know, man. Like I understand, right? And everyone gets a choice. It's all games at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
It does make people happy. It makes me happy when I game, right? So I truly understand the passion. because I am passionate. But at the same time, I don't have a poster of Hideo Kojima with candles around it, and it's like, oh, waiting for Hideo Kojima's next game, right? And Lord Kojima, save us from this game rut that we're having. And that's the thing with Phil, man. Like people started like, oh no, Phil's the man. He's gonna do the thing, and I don't know. It's been hit and miss, man. More misses than hits, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we got, sir. Wrap it up.
Man, what a show. Everyone, thank you so much for sticking with us on today's podcast. We want to encourage you to stay tuned and stay subscribed. We're on podcast platforms of your choice, places like Spotify, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and more. So make sure you are subscribed on those audio platforms and make sure you write a review as well, which really helps us out. You also can subscribe to the No Load Time YouTube channel. It's No Load Time on YouTube. If you're watching the video version right now, thank you for being here. We want to encourage you to subscribe on on the channel, like the videos, drop us a comment. Just helps the algorithm to share these episodes with other people. Additionally, you can follow us on social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time. Facebook, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, X. We're out there, so follow us. And you also can support us on Patreon. We are on patreon.com/, no load time. That's patreon.com/, no load time. And if you're watching the video version, you'll see that link as well here down in the description area. But with that, you can subscribe. You can basically support the show, like with as minimal as $1 a month. You can help our show to continue to grow and do more things. There's a lot of things that we want to do, but it costs money to do it. And we do this out of our own pockets. So if you want to help support us, you can do that with as minimal as $1 a month, which goes directly to the show to help us out. Patreon.com/, no load time. But that's all we got for today's episode. We look forward to being with you all next time.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again next time.